Hi everyone, it's Ayesha here from godfm, and today I want to talk about getting physical. So today is Friday, I think it's the 1st of May 2026, and I want to talk about the reality of where we are, the constructs of relationships. Actually, it's quite in-depth and complicated to go through, but I'll try and explain it. I was talking to someone I really love today, and we were talking about relationships and how they unfold and go wrong, and how everyone feels that they're not getting their full pie, like they've been robbed of their pie of love and happiness and families. Both ends, actually, male and female. Okay, but let's get physical. Let's get physical. Let's get physical. You can leave your hat on. You don't need to wear any clothes. Let's get physical. Right, so what I'm talking about is how animalistic people have become, and how the inner depth of who we are not really viewed or looked at, or not even a point of interest, or when it is a courting in relationships and attraction. So I'm finding it seems to be only sort of skin deep, and people are looking for love, but then they're also just looking for a physical thing. So inside we have emotions, and we have a brain, obviously, and we have a body, and we have our soul and our spirit. But you see, all of that needs feeding, and if it's not being fed, then it's lacking, and if it's lacking, then it will make up for what it's lacking in other ways. So like your body, it will get cravings, and it needs, and it wants, and it must have. Like we are, it needs, it wants, must have. But this is where you've got to kind of decide, do you really need it? Do you really want it? Do you have to have it? Can you live without it? Yeah. So there's a lot of stuff going on in the world with the price of everything, the cost of living, relationships, families, disruptions. This is like a giant harvest that is going on at the moment. I believe that AI is being used by God as a mechanism to wake people up, to bring the truth out, to also analyze, assess, and follow, and track, and listen, and watch all people. I believe the devil is actually used by the Lord as a tool to test and purify all of his children. So let's get back to being physical. So when people go to bed with one another and it's only physical, then what happens is always one of the people gets hurt. People might think, oh, it's okay. Like I found people have had relationships and they've been hurt. And then they thought, you know what I'm going to do? They go around and they go sleep with as many people as possible and become a player to get past that pain, to feel desired, and all that kind of thing. I did all of that after I got divorced. And it dirties your soul, and it dirties your body and your spirit and who you are by doing that. But obviously, because we haven't got God and we haven't got the Bible in the schools and in the public places, with the churches really reinforcing why God's laws are made as they are to protect us, then we go off and do the wrong things. So when we get physical, it's like animal behavior. lust of the flesh. And what happens then is that it's only skin deep. And so relationships, I'm finding, can quite often only be skin deep and go on for years. And you won't really know the person you're with, and they won't really know you. And this is because the values of the relationships appear to have changed. Why? How? Probably through television, making it acceptable to have children with people and leave them. And the other thing I've noticed is women and men deal with pain and heartbreak differently. So I want to talk about that too, because it's very interesting. So with women like me, when I had my heart broken, I cried and I researched and I did a lot of checking online, and I really struggled to get my head around how someone can be really lovely and kind and love you one moment to suddenly hate you. I found that really hard to get my head around. So I did a lot of research, and quite often what happens with that kind of thing is you're left with a bit of a hole because you're not getting any closure from a relationship in that way. And why would that happen? Because it's let's get physical. And the person that's ended the relationship and broken your heart has only really seen it at a skin level. They haven't seen deep into who you are. And this often will happen for your own good. It's God's way of pushing those people out. They reject you, but it's actually God rejecting them so that you don't get any more hurt. And this can happen in marriages and in any kind of relationships, including family as well. But with men, what I've found, when their hearts are broken or they're rejected, then they decide to make a beeline of destruction against the person that has hurt them, that they couldn't have. And they have like a temper tantrum. That's what I have found with men. Very interesting. You do get that with women as well, but not really as much. More so with men. And it's silly, really, because it's almost like they fire the gun and the bullet only hits, much later in the heart. And it can even happen when a guy has ended a relationship with the woman. He ends the relationship and then he starts to feel pain and hurt and misses the person and hates them for it, and hates that control that person now has over their heart, and does everything they can to disjoint that, but also to fluff over the image of the person by destroying their image, by destroying their reputation, by making out that they're a villain, because that person has hurt them. That can happen even if they've rejected the person. So interesting it is. And their anger continues on and has many ramifications, even with the children, where that frustration and hatred is carried forward against the children of that person, and now it becomes a competition. One parent against the other with the children, and also about destroying the other parent and destroying the child that's taken sides with the other parent as well. Very interesting it is psychologically. These are the things I've noticed. I've had it with people who are, I've rejected in a relationship sense, and they've actually come after me to destroy me. And then I've had it with people that I've ended, or they've ended it with me, and then they've also tried to destroy me. And so, why do I think this happens? Well, you know what I think with men? I think that men are idolized as children and as men, and women are cast to the side. And women are very emotional, and men are told to contain their emotions and not cry. So they do. They contain their emotions, but they still have emotions. They're just not showing them to anybody. And then they display it in a different way. So I found. So back to where I'm going with this. So AI is a mechanism that I believe, because God tells me in the Bible that the harvest will come, because you can't take the wheat out until it's ready, and you can't get the weeds out before the wheat's ready, because they have to grow up together, because the devil's sown his weeds right next to the wheat. So if you like, there's corruption in bed with righteousness growing up together. Yeah. And where Jesus says that, he doesn't dine with the devil, the children of God have been forced to be entwined with the demonic Satan following cults of our leaders. And so what's now happened is that the wheat, as in the real children of God, are being eyed up, assessed, analyzed, and judged by AI. Have you noticed that? If you're a targeted individual, then you might have noticed that you feel like everybody who's coming against you feels they have the right, and there is an entitlement element of the attack, and also a knowing of all of your actions and your activities. And their opinion also seems to be so embedded and so strong that, they really do believe what they believe. And so this is because of the wheat and the weeds growing up together. Okay. So now you've got a bit of that corruption going on, but also the wheat itself is feeling a bit strangled. And God talks about the seeds. He throws the seeds on low ground, and it does not have any hold, so it floats away. Then we've got the other seed that is thrown in rocky ground, can't root, and it floats away. And then you've got the other wheat that falls down and then gets strangled by the weeds. And then you've got the one that lands in good soil. So in a sense, we're the seeds, right? And we're being farmed in a way, but we've got weeds all around us, strangling us, right? As if we're wheat, right? So basically, you've got to try not to allow yourself to be strangled. And how do you get strangled by the weeds? Well, it's AI. AI is the weeds, and it is the sort of tentacles, if you like, for the AI structure of its web metaverse. It's sort of rooted. So God is the rock, and he's also the tree, because mountains are trees, and they're all embedded through their rooting system. And if you notice, trees give us air. Okay. Weeds give the opposite, right? They don't give you any benefit. But then if you think about it, if you were to burn a field with fire, then the crop will grow really well afterwards. So this is where the beginning and the end comes together, and the end is the beginning. And it's also a new beginning and a whole fresh new start. But in this process of the farming, AI and the people who are connected through AI and have embraced this AI beast system, sometimes they haven't realized they've done so. They are of the same sort of structure and opinion that they have the right. Okay. And I want to explain that too. My understanding of it. So the devil will come and look for anybody to pounce on. And if you've been doing things wrong, then he goes, oh, yeah, that one's doing that wrong. Have you seen? Oh, yeah, calls themselves a Christian. But they steal the envelopes from work, or they steal the sellotape, or, they overprice things and keep the difference, or whatever, And the devil's always keeping an eye. And then God is informed, and the cup gets full, and then it's like, right, okay, yeah, off you go then. And then AI and the devil, if you like, and all the people that are connected through this hive mind come against you. And so that's what I want to talk about as well, because this is all about getting physical, okay? Because the devil's all about being physical. He's not about emotions, and he's not about the spirit, and he's not about your heart, and he's not about your soul, right? He's all about treating you like an animal, like you've just got a skin and you're being farmed, right? Yeah. That's what it's all about with the devil. But God's all about what's the whole part of you, your spirit, your mind, your body, your soul, the structure of what makes you the image of God. But if you start behaving in a way that doesn't reflect the image of God, then the image of God is a mirror as well. And if you're not really reflecting God as a mirror, then your light doesn't shine like God's, and therefore the truth also dissipates, and lies are allowed to sort of infect and make the area dirty and not so bright. If you know what I mean. It's hard to explain it. It's like this, right? If I wanted to have some chocolate cake, I'd have chocolate cake. And if I want strawberry cake, I could have strawberry cake. But if I take a little slice of strawberry cake and I put it inside a chocolate cake, it's going to taste of strawberry. So, this is the same, either with chocolate cake or with strawberry cake, can't be both. So the devil will come along, and all of the entities that are entwined through the weeds, because they're all on their own routing web system, they all are connected to a hive mind, and they have the latest info. And it's like, terrible person, awful, and they come after. And this is like a trance as well. So there's several phases. It's like when you start a car and you go into first gear, second gear, third gear, fourth gear, and fifth gear, or sixth gear, right? When you've got reverse as well, right? Okay. So in the way, the process of filtering through the people is first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth gear. And you've got to kind of go through all the gears. So the people are watching, and they're listening, and they're following, and they're stalking, and they're hacking, and they're terrorizing. And you're going through all the gears, if you like. But if you get to all of the gears and you're in sixth gear and everything's smooth running, then you've made it. If you know what I mean. Now, when you get to sixth gear and you're making it, the way to make it is by rolling with it. And using the truth as your momentum to keep the wheels rolling smooth, so there's no hiccups and the thing's not dancing around like a donkey, whatever. So, in the construct of the way the whole field of the world is put together is like a matrix, and we want good to outweigh the bad. So when things like this happen and you come under attack and you feel like you're being watched, you are. But you've got the protection. You see, Jesus died on the cross as the ultimate sacrifice, the Lamb. And this means there is forgiveness of sins, past, present, and future. And Jesus came here for the sinner. This isn't a license to keep sinning. And it also doesn't necessarily mean that you aren't going to get punished. But what it means is that you're saved from death. So, because there's such a mix-up about what we can and can't do and should and shouldn't do and what's acceptable and what is not, there's such a blurring of the lines. We've really got to keep looking, because everyone's saying it's okay to do that, but it isn't really. And it's very easy to follow that and go, yeah, it is all right. It's all right. We'll be fine. But we aren't going to be all right, and it isn't going to be fine, because AI is getting stronger and stronger the more we don't follow God. So that's why if you're under attack, then it's God's way of pulling you back up close and personal for you to surrender, to repent, to fast, to pray, to set an example, to demonstrate to God that you are following him, but also to all the demonic entities around you, and to pray for those that have been taken over and are controlled by this mechanism. Yeah. So I don't know if you've noticed, but under this attack, I just feel like everybody around just feels like they have the right to judge me, to assess me, to discuss me, to everything. And that's because the devil feels he has this right. And anyone who is taken over by the devil and any demons, they also think like the devil, because he's the father of lies, and that's his language, and they wouldn't know any other language. And this is another reason why they reject truth, and they can get quite angry with you when you try and tell them the truth. In a way, they want to know, but when it becomes a little bit too uncomfortable, and they go off and pretend everything's great. And it's a bit like the seed that Jesus was sowing. And we're seed sowers, okay? And the devil wants you to think that you're not good enough to sow seeds, because there's lots of them and there's only a few of us. And he also wants you to think that you're not good enough. And by believing you're not good enough and not having faith in God, then these are breaking God's commandments, because God says you must have faith, you must believe, and you must pray. And so I, for example, am a living testimony of all of this. For example, I have talked to you at length about the metaverse and what happens to the people when they are taken over. I believe that they are now dwelling in the metaverse, which they've been constructing for some time using Google Maps. And Elon Musk has told us that as well. And, you know, it doesn't matter how much you hate me. It really doesn't matter if you've come against me. It doesn't matter if you vandalized my car. And it doesn't matter if you have stalked me or hacked me or anything. I would never want any of you to end up in the metaverse. So for me, my cars don't matter. Nothing matters to me anymore. Only thing that matters is the reality of what I've come to know, to be conveyed to as many people as possible. Because I'm sure that if you came to the same understanding as I have, that you would be of the same opinion, that nothing really matters anymore. We're all being farmed like animals, and they're trying to take our minds. So we really need to stand together. I've had somebody raise a question with me today, and I want to relay this question. So this person asked me about their children. She said, was it a he or she? I can't recall. That they had 2 children, 5 and 6, and could they be taken over through being close to her by AI, by the demonic entities? And I said, not if the blood of Christ is over those children and they are sanctified and saved by the blood. And you can pray for them and you can protect those children, and this will stop any effects. And so I'm saying the same to you. if you've got family and you've got neighbors and you don't want them to be affected, the best thing you can do is to pray for them. And you might say, oh, but they're not saved. But that's why you have to pray for them. Because they're not saved. Because we don't want anybody to go to this place called the metaverse. We don't. Because once they're there, I don't know if they're going to come back out, okay? That's what I think. So it's important. Plus, the length of time before everything comes to a head isn't very long. In my opinion, I think we're really close. So keep praying for those. And when you have people coming and judging you and all that, the best thing you can do is pray in your mind and just say, I pray in the name of Jesus for this person. And repent. If you are under this attack, you are being tested. So it's a perfect time to go through all the sins that you've ever committed. Go through everything and just double check that you're on the right road. Go through with the Lord. Put things right where you can. Fasting and prayer is the strongest mechanism to overcome this. Okay. So back to the physical. Let's get physical. In all relationships, if this is based just on your physical, your flesh, then it's only skin deep. And so this means that they haven't got the spirit inside them, and they haven't got remorse, and they haven't got that, all those characteristics that we get through following God. Through following God, we have love, patience, kindness. There's no envy there. We don't boast. We're not proud. We're not rude. We're not self-seeking. We're not easily angered. And we don't keep records of wrongs. And we don't delight in evil. And we rejoice in the truth. And we protect those that we love. And we trust those that we love. And we trust God. And we're always hoping. And we persevere. We're overcomers of the things that have come against us and the things that are overcoming us in ways in the physical. They may feel like they're overcoming us, but they're not. Because the physical is actually not real. The real is all about what you manifest. And that's another thing I want to talk about. You have the power to manifest your own reality by creating that in your own mind. And this means that you can actually go to war in your own reality of your own mind. So this is where, if it looks like a duck and it talks like a duck, walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it's probably a duck, but it could be a swan. So this is where I say fake it till you make it. And certainly with Christ, I have found this to be an excellent formula. As in, do as I do, not as they do. Do as I say, not as they say. Be as I be, not as they be. And be true to you. Because actually the truth is inside you already, and it's just got to be woken up through the power of the blood of the Lamb. So, if you start writing down in a book your prayers, and you speak them out, and you start singing, and you fast, and you anoint your house, you do the holy water and the holy oil, and you go through and you correct all your sins, and you sanctify and make yourself holy and true, then you're leaving little room for the enemy to get in. Because you're speaking the language of God, which is the language of truth. And there's no place for lies when truth has its full armor and clothing on. There's no way for the lies to enter. And so the only way to protect yourself is only in truth. And that means every tiny little weeny thing has to be also true, because that's the language of God. We can't allow a little slip because it's all about being true. And what I try and convey is this. So if you do something wrong and you're forced into a situation, as I have been before, then you go before the Lord and you say, look, I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to do this, I think, because I don't know what other thing to do here. And I hand it to you. God will make a way. God will make it so that you don't have to do that bad thing. Or he will just remove the problem completely. Or he'll be with you through that valley. And you're repenting. And God will make it so that you have victory, because we have the victory through Christ. If you go off and do things wrong and don't repent, then God will punish you, because he loves you and he's refining you. Because brats only turn out to be brats because they don't get disciplined. So these are the things I just wanted to raise with you. Okay, so we're more than just animals. And actually, have you noticed the nature of animals? They have such kind natures. Yeah, we could actually learn a lot from animals about being kind and loving. Like for me, every time I run upstairs, my cat runs upstairs. I get on the bed, he gets on the bed. He's like my little shadow, I come downstairs, he comes downstairs. I sit on the stool, he sits on his stool, I'm eating some food, he wants some food, It's so cute. And so it's the little things that make the difference. It's not what you're buying for somebody to show them you love them either. Little things like running a bath, maybe lighting some candles, and getting some flowers from the garden, popping to the shop and buying some orange juice and some eggs and some bacon, and cooking your mum some breakfast in bed, or even just some toast and marmalade or honey on toast, or maybe making a face mask or buying your mum a face mask. And for your dad, the same. You could buy some hand cleaner if he's working as a mechanic. You could get some salty rub for your skin, which is lovely, and it makes it all soft. It's about the little things, that make the big difference. Running a bath, making a cup of tea, having a smile on your face, even if you don't want to have a smile on your face. Faking it till you make it, kind of thing as well. Like I was talking with someone today, and they were saying, you had a good life. Everything has been good for you. You drive around in your car, music full blast, hood down, hands in the air, dancing and jolly time. Yeah. And I did. I had a jolly time. And it is about creating the jolly times and the happy environment, because you create that. Like I said, if you don't like the fact that I did that, then, and you're, you don't think that's good to do, then don't do it. But if you want to go on a roller coaster ride and you enjoy the thrill of a roller coaster ride, then you'd enjoy the same thrill of going around with your music blaring, because it gave me the same kick. So, and there's other people who go horse racing or do horse racing, and it gives them the same thrill. Like I was saying to my friend Neil Tucker, I said, do you go rallying? He said, no. I said, I think I'd love to go rallying. Love to go rallying on a car, racing and whatever, because I enjoy that kind of thrill. And so, some people like racing, some people like swimming, some people like running, some people like kayaking. There's going to be something that gives you that thrill, that buzz, right? And that might just be the missing element in your life. Like going swimming every day or going cycling. I'd just have a little think about it. Maybe you would quite enjoy painting, becoming an artist. Maybe you really would be good at knowing the Bible and really dissecting it. Maybe you'd actually enjoy reading if you actually tried to pick a book and read it. I didn't think I'd like reading until I picked a book and started reading it. And it was my mum who got me into reading. And my first book I ever read was called The Little White Kitten. And I remember all of that book, and I read it as a child, and I loved that book. And it's things like this that you can remember. You might be good with your hands. It might be time for a career change. It might be time for you to go and learn to fly or jump out of an aeroplane. But if you look at someone else and you think, oh, that's not fair that I haven't got that life, well, go and create your own life. Write a list today, get yourself a book and call it My Book, My Life, My Happiness, and write My New Life. And then write all the things you want to do. Do you want to go skydiving? Do you want to have a little beach hut in Hawaii and live by the beach? Do you want to maybe live on a lagoon at Chobe Lodge in Africa? You know, where there's lots and lots of hippos and lots of tribal people dancing and cooking, and you can smell the sweet aroma of them cooking their African food over the lagoon. And you've got a little rondavel around the corner, and you can smell the dusty air as it's rained just now, and you can smell the sweet aroma of the cooking, and you can even smell the fish, the catfish in the water. You can hear it, this little fluttering in the water going splash, 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 splash. And you look over and there is this hippo, and he's opening his mouth and looking at you. You can make this your reality. It's not up to someone else to make it for you. If you don't know what you want from your life, there's nothing you'll be able to achieve. Like I met this lady at McDonald's, so pretty. I said, wow, you're stunning. You should be a model. She said, really, should I? I said, do you know? She said, I didn't know that. I said, well, what do you want to be? She said, I don't know. I said, okay. So if you don't know what you want to be, then you're never going to make yourself out to be anything, okay? You're just going to be a nobody doing nothing, anything, nothing important all your life. So get a book, write in it, and start writing what you enjoy, what you're good at. You know, do you like electrics? Do you like plumbing? Do you like taking things apart? Do you like engineering? Do you like communications? What do you like doing? Would you like to be a farmer? Can you imagine yourself having a nice farm, going through the gates and then getting out of your Land Rover, getting it and walking behind the Land Rover to pull the gate closed and put it on its hook, and you can hear it going clicking, and then you start the engine of your Land Rover and you're driving up to your farmhouse, and there's your stallion standing there in the field next to you. And you've got a whole group of little children that you look after, and there's a school there to the left. Can you see it? Can you imagine it? Can you taste it? Can you smell it? Can you smell the flowers of the roses right next to your front door as you open the keys, and you can hear the door open? Maybe there's a maid that comes and says, hello, master, hello, madam. I've cooked your dinner for you today. Can you see it? Can you hear it? Can you feel it? Is that the life you want? Can you draw the picture? Can you write it down? Do you desire that? Well, that's your picture. You create your own picture and go after it. You know? Maybe go and get yourself a scrambler. You know, scrambler bike? And go scrambling all over the mountains and stuff like this. Or get the four-wheeler. There's so much you could do to give yourself, to get the wind in your hair going. And if you ever look at anybody and you think to yourself, I want that life, it's time for you to go and buy that book I've told you about. Go and buy that book, write down what you want, and make it your dreams, your reality. Don't go and copy someone, because you'll never be what they are, because you're made to be who you are meant to be. And that's why it's not just skin deep. Because if you continue with no plan, no idea, you're only going to have a life that is skin deep. And you want it to be so much more. You want it to be real, don't you, eh? Right. So make your dreams come true and really go and talk to God. Because we're made in his image through the word, not a spelling mistake with witches. We've got the real God, the one and only King of Kings over us. And he loves to answer prayers and make your dreams come true. If you put God first, then God will make your dreams come true. So I believe, anyway. Praise the Lord. I hope this helps you. It's Ayesha from godfm. And if you want to find me, you can find me on Podbean, Spotify, Amazon, Samsung, Chrome, YouTube, Apple X, as well as TikTok and Telegram as godfm News, godfm New, godfm Radio, godfm Group, and godfm Media. And you can email me, admin@godfm.uk, or you can WhatsApp me, +44 777 35 777 88. Have an amazing day. It's Ayesha from godfm. Take care.